I wonder where Mosette is. Usually she shows up around this time when I'm working on the show. I wonder where she could be. Pretty strange that she... Oh, hey, Mosette. How's it going? Good to see you. Great outfit. Great for Halloween. It's perfect. Yeah, I know all about the Rams, and I know about first place and all the craziness that's going on. Okay, I get it. Hey, you're standing a little close. Would you do me a favor and stand back? What are you doing? What the? Ah!
And now it's time for another episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a show made by Seahawk fans for Seahawk fans. I'm Igor, and here's your host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Igor, and welcome, boys and ghouls, to a very special episode 516, the super spooky Hawkoween Texan edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show as your Seattle Seahawks get ready to take on the Texans. But remember, we can smell your fear. Let's meet the posse for this episode. First, of course, my partner in crime, the yin to my yang. He will be spending the next week howling at the moon in London and doing God knows what to God knows who. But his hair will be perfect. It's Matt from Merry Old England. Matt!
Good morning, Moses. How are you?
I'm fine, Matt. How are you doing?
Well, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I'm feeling a bit like Precise at the moment. I feel like I'm constantly injured. It's a painful experience over here at the moment. Lots of dental issues going on, lots of pain going on, and I'm being harassed from my trophy buying company, who are now writing to me to find out why I'm not buying any trophies lately.
Well, maybe we'll get to that halftime.
Yeah.
Maybe
Nightmare.
Did you get the questions?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, no problem. Also here from the state of Washington, our very own news hound. He is always lurking in the shadows. We know him as Will. Hi, Will.
Well, I stopped the lurking once they filed the restraining order, but I'm fine. How are you?
I'm sorry. Did I spoil it for you?
It's all right. It's all right. But you know what? I was thinking, though, on a totally unrelated subject, with the Seahawks going with Techno Thursdays now,
yes.
I think we need to go with Funk Fridays on this podcast.
I love it.
Wow.
I think Funk
let's
Fridays
get
is
funky.
going to happen. Funk Fridays we'll do something with fun. Oh, yes.
Ooh,
Yes.
I see future outtakes.
Oh, Techno Thursdays and Funk Fridays. You got to love it. Also, from the state of Washington, he is our own fun-sized posse member. He is Dustin. Hi, Dustin.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. How are you?
Good. I'm glad I'm here. Like I said, I was almost late scratch today because I lost track of time watching Stranger Things Season 2, which is out now on Netflix, everybody. Go watch it. It's good stuff.
Go watch it now. Turn this off and go watch Stranger Things.
Dustin is sponsored by Netflix.
Yeah.
We have a sponsor?
Man, you know,
I do.
If Stranger Things and that other one you watch with all the dragons and stuff,
Game of
Thrones.
Game of Thrones and Stranger Things did a crossover, I think your head would explode.
He would be streaming it on his brand new iPhone 10.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, someone whose head we hope does not explode, our man behind enemy lines, the man of your nightmares, that's man Mark. Hi,
Hello.
Mark.
Hey. How's everybody doing?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. I was just consulting. Speaking of late scratches, I was just consulting with Crystal, one of my cyber friends, and I had not had much in the way of luck with betting on teaser cards. Mm-hmm. And I had to explain the distinction between a teaser in football and a teaser. Well, anyway. And so I said, I'm going to give you 5 cities, honey. I just want you to ramble off, 5 matchups, ramble off a city. And sure enough, it won. So,
way to go, Crystal.
I owe her 150 tokens, and and I'll keep the rest. So,
all right. Well, tell Crystal we said hi. Halloween is around the corner. I don't know if you all are planning on going trick-or-treating or dressing up or anything. I am going to try to go as that clown that everyone knows that terrorizes young kids, but I can't find an Adrian Peterson mask. So,
ouch.
Yeah,
I know. We'll move on from there. Okay.
That's what
Switch
said.
Switch sold separately. Dennis?
Okay. Yes. Let's switch it to Michael Bolton. Michael Bolton.
Boys, let's get to it.
Yes, let's get to it, shall we? This show is run just like a real NFL football game. 4 quarters of halftime. Quarter 1 is Will with the news. Quarter 2, we'll discuss that Seahawks-Giants game, have a special Caption That Picture, and see how we did on our predictions from last week. Halftime is the best Seahawk-themed play-along game on the internet. 12-man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia.
Underworld.
Dustin trying to get 4 in a row.
Hell yeah.
What?
Guys,
Uh-huh.
I sent them all the questions, so hopefully that'll help. Quarter 3.
Has he got microphones in our changing rooms or something?
I don't know. I should look around here.
Webcams.
I don't know.
Webcams.
I have a change.
Bar drops tokens.
He says me tokens. I'm getting tokens.
It's where the tokens are worth more than $1. How does that work? It's the economy.
The economy of tokens, everyone.
That was business news from Mark.
Yeah.
Quarter.
The exchange rate's hot. Okay.
Oh dear.
Wow. Quarter 3, we're actually going to talk football between the Seahawks and the Texans. We're preparing for your upcoming game with weather, with injuries, with fashion report, and of course, how to know if you might be a Texan. In quarter 4, we make our predictions, our prognostications, and game balls for that Texans game. Before we start, please like, share, subscribe to Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Join our Facebook group. We have a great game day thread that goes on there. We're also on Twitter and we're on email. Let us know your thoughts there as well. But let's get to the first quarter with Shadow, Hawk, Will, and the news. Yes, news while you were out bobbing for apples. It's the 12-man Fan Jam Show news report with Shadow, Hawk, Will. Will, what do you got for us?
Well, Moses, the NFL has one more London game coming up this weekend because obviously they're trying to build more of a fan base overseas. I'm not exactly sure how they think they can do this by having the Browns play over there. But Browns wide receiver and full-time malcontent Kenny Britt is doing his best to make sure that does not happen, even more so. Britt actually played in London last year when he was a member of the Los Angeles Rams, and he wasn't a fan. I hated London. Hated it, Britt said via ESPN. I hated it with a passion. I hated everything about it. I hated the flight. I hated us being there so long. I hated the flight back. I hated the food. You can ask my wife the same thing, and she'll give you the same answer. So Kenny Britt as an ambassador to the NFL, yeah, you're not exactly helping, bro.
Matt, care to rebuttal?
No, not really. I mean, the thing is when he came over here and he was out about in town, and you know, did any of the police shoot him? No. So you've got to be grateful for small mercies over here, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yikes! We just lost every listener we ever had.
Hopefully we've lost Kenny Britt. That would be that would be the best one, really. But then I don't like London very much either. You know, London is a very it's a nice place to visit. I wouldn't want to be there for any length of time. But get over yourself, Kenny.
Yeah, really, Kenny.
God, you're
Has
from New
anybody
Jersey
ever
for
gone
crying out loud.
somewhere that they were on vacation and you thought it's supposed to be this really great place to go and it just turned out to be terrible? Where?
San Francisco.
Yeah.
I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I think I've told you the story, but I had a hotel called the Pickwick, which was opposite this newspaper publishing place in San Francisco, the Bugle or whatever, and it had 6 locks on the door. And I thought, well, what the hell gets through 2 locks, let alone 4 locks or 6 locks? Do you know what I mean? So what the hell is this for? I didn't have any earthquakes while I was there. It stunk of weed. It was surrounded by homeless people and poor people, which was really sad, and nobody seemed to care about it. In fact, so bad, that we got on a tourist bus and they drove us around and they said, on our right is the longest homeless queue in Western America. And I'm thinking, you're now showing off as a tourist destination?
Wow.
Well, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Absolutely.
I want to take a picture of the kids by this. Come here, kids.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, the best bit about it was Alcatraz.
Yeah.
And we lost the football game as well, so it was all shit.
Yeah, just terrible.
Hate that place.
Well, as much as Kenny Britt hates London, apparently.
Yeah.
I have a question about the London games before you go to story 2. Now, was it last week or the week before that? I think it was last week the Rams played there.
Yes.
Okay, here's my question. And they played at like 1:30 our time, Eastern time, which is the time the first round of games starts. So 10 o'clock for you people in Seattle, but 1 o'clock for me. Why don't they do that with every game? Why does every game have to start for so early in the morning for us? I didn't understand that. Did that make any sense to any of you just now?
None
Yeah,
whatsoever.
you're complaining that about the game time over.
Yeah,
there,
because
but
they start
for them. It's like 1 a.m. or something, right? That's highly inconvenient for them.
But they played a game in it. They played a game. When the Rams played in London last week or 2 weeks ago, it was 1 o'clock start time, Eastern time, which is when all the other games start. And all the other London games start at like 9:30 Eastern time in the morning, which is 6:30 Seattle time. I don't understand why they could go with what, in other words, a normal start time, and the other ones have to have a totally different start time. I don't understand that.
Well, they started doing the 6:30 games a couple years ago because they wanted to add another game to the. They basically wanted football from dawn until dusk the entire day, but of course
none of them were married apparently. But,
well, the thing is, most of the London games aren't worth watching anyway, so I just sleep in.
That's
True
true.
that.
Yeah.
True that. Okay, well, I just threw that out there. I thought that was weird.
I think if they're trying to bring in a fan base from over there, they should maybe pick a kickoff time that's more suited to those people over there.
Well, okay, and that's fine, but that other one wasn't. That's what I was saying. If they can do that one, why can't they?
Oh no, UFC does the same thing though. Like all their pay-per-views, like 7 o'clock our time, and it's regardless of like where it is in the world. So it's kind of strange to do it that way.
That's weird.
I guess it's a sports model. It works,
I didn't even know what time it was on because I didn't care that much.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, sorry, I'll wait for my game to come on. And then we had a bye weekend. But then we had a bye week anyway, and I was like, look, I'm bothered anyway, so I went to bed.
Yeah. All right. Well, what else you got for us?
Well, Moses, as you all know, Seattle signed signed Dwight Freeney this week, who ranks 18th on the all-time sack list. And it turns out the player who ranks 19th on the all-time sack list is also hoping to make a comeback. That would be Simeon Rice, who sent a message to the Buccaneers saying that he wanted to come play. Quote, "They have no pass rush," Rice said. "None. I can get them to the playoffs. They got 10 games left. I got 12 sacks in me. Easy work."
What?
So now you've got to admire Rice's
That sounds like
optimism.
a porn that Matt might be interested in, actually.
I remember the last time I had 12 sacks in me. What are you talking about? What's that? Keep it clean. Keep it clean, people. Keep it clean.
You've got to admire, though. You've got to admire Rice's optimism, given that he's 43 years old and last played in an NFL game 10 years ago, this November 22nd.
43.
He'd have to spend another year relearning all the bloody rules.
Yeah.
But
43.
if anyone wants a pass rusher out there, Simeon Rice is available.
You there,
Cleveland
kids?
Browns.
I could do it twice as easy as you do.
With my Zimmer frame.
Wow.
Oh, Dwight Freeney, guys. That's a great pickup for the Seahawks, by the way. I love that pickup. I think everybody does. Very excited to see him.
I'm glad we got him
see.
rather than Simeon Rice, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. If those were the options and they presented these are the guys we're looking at, I would have went Freeney all day. But when they signed Freeney, I was like, 37-year-old pass rusher. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but we only need him for 10 snaps maybe at the most.
Yeah, he's not going to be in there a whole lot. It's not like he's going to be a workhorse for us. So.
And not only, and here's the thing about Freeney, and this is kind of being close to the Colts over here, I can tell you, he was one of the greatest guys on that team outside of football that they ever had. I mean, he's just an amazing guy anyway. So the locker room presence is going to be amazing because he's 37. So the guys are going to learn from him. And he does have an amazing spin move. If he could teach that to Clark, my God. But,
I loved when Bennett was giving his press conference this week and somebody asked him if he wanted to keep playing till he was 37. And Bennett was like, hell no.
But Freeney's an amazing guy. I mean, he really is. He's just an amazing guy off the field, let alone on the field. So his locker presence is going to be amazing. He's going to teach the guys something. You can always learn something from somebody. So he's going to give them a little added into their arsenal on pass rushing, I'm sure. Plus the fact, let's face it, last year at the Super Bowl, he did make a presence. And that wasn't that long ago. So, I think he's still got a little gas in that tank that we can have. We don't need him for more than 10 snaps, maybe 15. But I'll take him. I love that idea. I think it's fantastic. So I hope it works out. I hope he has a really good game coming up. But no Simeon Rice.
I'll say something that's kind of cool about that too is he was playing in an Atlanta system where Dan Quinn was the coach.
Right.
So they have an idea of what worked for him just by watching how he played in Atlanta. They know, okay, well, in our style system, this works for him. He can do this in these situations. So they can adapt it probably pretty well and pretty quickly to Seattle, which is kind of
absolutely cool. He commented on that in his press conference. He said, down in Arizona, it wasn't working because it was a whole different system. But he felt very comfortable in Atlanta, and he knows that Dan Quinn is very similar to what we do, and he couldn't wait to get here. So he's excited to be here. So that's another thing. Guy can't wait to be here. Bring him in. That's exciting. But no Simeon Rice, please. We don't need a 43-year-old defensive end in football, I don't think.
Apparently the Buccaneers don't. Apparently the Buccaneers agree since they have not signed Simeon Rice.
No, that's a wise move. All right. Well, Will, thank you so much for the news.
You're welcome, Moses.
And that's the end of the first quarter.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
Coming up on this spooky Halloween episode of your 12-Man Fan Jam show, lots of show left. Halftime trivia, but coming up next, we talk about last week's game and the victory over the New York Giants, and we'll capture a picture. We'll be right back.
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
Yes, welcome to the second quarter of episode 516 of your 12-Man Fan Jam show. It's time to review last week's victory, the Seahawks over the Giants in New York. And Mark, it was definitely a tale of two halves, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the usual, a slow start and then a flurry, second half, and that's kind of the way our season's gone too. It's just, I don't know. I guess slow starts we're just accustomed to, but. The bottom line is any road win is a good win, especially this season. Every week there's something weird going on. And so if I find myself complaining, even, a little bit, it's like, it's a road victory. I'll take it. And now we get to go back home. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Well, a little nervous at halftime.
Well, a little frustrated more than anything. I mean, to piggyback off Mark's point, I think I'm going to sleep in this weekend and show up at the Hawks Texans game at halftime. But seriously, it was a good win. I was glad to see us do some good stuff. We were running the ball a little bit better, pass blocking a little bit better, but that Giants team had no business being in that game, and Seattle could have easily put up more than 40 points on New York, and the only reason they weren't was because we were making mistakes, too many dumb mistakes, drop passes, dumb penalties. You cut that out, and this team, even with a shaky offensive line, can still compete with anybody in the league. More than anything else, we're beating ourselves right now.
I agree. Matt, slow, methodical beatdown, or panic time at halftime?
Well, not at halftime. I don't think you can call it a slow, methodical beatdown for the whole of the game, because for the first part of the game, I didn't know what the hell I didn't know what I was watching, to be frankly honest. It was just stupid. I mean, to be in the red zone on an opening drive, whatever it was, and have how many attempts? What was it? 476 attempts to get that ball into the.
One of the two.
I was just done. I was like, honest to God, I'll walk it in. Give me the damn ball. I'll walk it in, because someone's got to do something right. And why, they couldn't just. I don't know why they didn't keep that read option or whatever it is called and just have Wilson run it in a couple of times. I think he could have done it twice, but they just try to get a bit tricksy about it sometimes, I think. But my goodness, I think that was the moment it's too early in the game for me to be screaming at a television screen.
Yes.
But yeah, it was, but then the second half, you have the adjustments. You have the Doug Baldwin puts a bit of fire into the mix, and they start coming out and doing some throws. But unfortunately, not all of them caught. Which was a frustration for me as well.
What are you saying?
I think Williams would have caught some of those. To be
my God, Dustin!
Yeah.
Dustin, what was your thought at halftime?
At halftime, I was still pretty mad about the whole. I think it was like 10 plays in the red zone there to try and score.
Yeah.
And they're just jacking it up, and a lot of mine was just personnel. It's like you have a big ass power back right there, Eddie Lacy, and he's not even in there for most of these plays. Like, get him in there. Just try and run it, man. Just try and run the freaking ball.
Yeah.
But so that was frustrating. Then Jimmy Graham drops it, which was awesome.
And Rawls dropped the screen that he probably would have scored on. So let's not, hey.
Yeah.
You haven't got to defend Jimmy Graham every time. Time.
Rawls didn't drop it in the end zone on that 10-play.
No, but he had nothing but gray jerseys and green grass ahead of him. Let me say that.
Let me tell
Kind
you,
of like Jimmy Graham on the second pass that he dropped.
Yeah, he'd have been 40, 50 yards on that one at least.
Well, okay, I want this known. Matt, what did I say in the game day thread?
I was just about to tell you this. So everybody who's listening, we do have a game day thread on Facebook. So if you do want to come along and join in with the fun on game day, come and have a watch. Dennis spend, far too long trying to defend people who are dropping balls. But he did say, wait until the second half because, shit's going to happen, feed the beast or whatever his phrase the day was. And it's like, yes, that's fine. I'm quite happy for the whole of their second half. But can we not just do it in one half of a football game? Can he also catch the goddamn ball? And the first part of a football game
is he not human?
Would be nice.
Does he not bleed?
I don't know.
Are you not entertained?
I wasn't entertained. No.
No. On the bright side, he wasn't out there for one play.
Watching that game.
Yeah. On the bright side, I like how what he does for the team more than Pro Size because he was out there for one play and then quit.
Pro Size is just testing out the medical facilities.
My Pro Size is going to score a touchdown. I believe in him.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
He got a nice block on that one play he was in.
You mean before he retires?
Yeah, really.
The moment where they announced that he's had to go off injured or whatever, and I was like, that was expected. What? No, anyone shocked about that? Anyone?
Hashtag as expected. Yes.
Yeah, he made it to the game that time. He got through warm-ups and stuff. Oh, good for him.
Lomo literally looked at me and said, "Did they just say what I thought they did?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh my god," and he knows it.
No truth to the rumor that Pro Size will star as Mr. Glass in the Unbreakable sequel. So
I know.
But one of the good things though that I loved was the fact that when Jimmy Graham did drop, I don't know what his 8th ball or whatever, I don't know, but when he did drop it, Dennis sat there and suddenly said, "Yeah, that was on Jimmy."
He finally admitted one.
Yes, that was on Jimmy.
I will blame when blame is due.
A buddy at work the other day was talking about CJ Pro Size, and he's like, "Man, it's too bad he's hurt all the time. He's got so much potential." And I was like, "Yeah, he's got the potential to miss the rest of the season for an injury that he should have been back from a long time ago.
And still get paid."
Yeah.
Dude.
Where do I sign up for that job? I could limp around and get a couple mil a year. I mean, why not?
Yeah. Second half though, thumbs up.
Yes.
He's doubtful for this week as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is.
And Carroll pretty much said he's out.
He's a game day decision. Mark, place your bets.
That's that will be like 1 to 10 payout. That he'd miss it, so you get 10 cents on the dollar, I guess.
How many tokens is that, Mark?
Oh boy. Well, let's see here. For every
never mind.
Let me write it out.
Yeah, you figure it out. I'll roundtable this before we go 2-minute warning. Will, give me a positive from this game.
Well, second half.
Okay.
There's the whole winning thing.
Getting beyond the obvious, I did like the way we were running the ball, even in the first half. I liked that we were starting to get, Rawls still needs to be a little patient and then hit the holes when they develop. But but there were holes. I mean, there were running lanes. We were actually getting more than a half yard. And pass protection too. Reese Odiombo actually had a decent game.
He had a great game compared to him. I went back and watched, and I said, I'm seeing a lot of his back, which means he's not getting beat and he's blocking the guy in front of him, which was nice. But he had a great game. I don't know how you pronounce it, Pocic.
I think it's Pocic, yeah.
Pocic.
Just put him on the line. Center, guard, I don't care. That guy, I love the game he played.
He will be starting at left guard if Britt can go this week. So.
Yeah, and that's great. I think that's perfect. I think he earned it last week. Offensive line, much better. They're going forward, which is nice to see.
Well, okay. But I think it's still kind of like, since they did their job, it's like, oh my God, maybe there's a chance, but there's a long way to go. But I agree with the rookie, with Pocic or Pocic.
Ethan. We'll just call him Ethan.
Yeah, we'll just call him Ethan. He should have been starting. And you know what? He should have been starting, I think, right away, no matter how bad he is. It's like, well, okay, the whole line's bad, so why don't you throw him in the fire? Anyway, whatever. It's happening. So he could be a new cog in this machine that needs a lot of fixing. So
I don't think that it was that they thought he was bad. I think it's that they liked his versatility as a backup because he can play any position on a line. Yeah. So I think that's what that's why they didn't want him to necessarily start, which is a weird concept, but yeah.
Well, I'm glad he's there now.
Yeah, at least he's there now. I mean, we just have to, slowly. I mean, if he becomes a piece that's there that looks good and consistent, then
Very excited by him.
It's also good news going forward because if he can step into the left guard role and play well, that's a lot of money you don't have to spend bringing Luke Jokel back.
Right.
Got $8 million.
Very quickly, I found out that San Francisco's starting right tackle in Philadelphia is none other than Gary Gilliam, I think, this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, wait, what's that spread?
Philly.
I'm going to lay the 13 with Gary Gilliam at right tackle and take the Eagles.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
And the defense is still playing, incredibly lights out. You take away that Tennessee game, and they've just had an incredible year. And, we talked about the Heat in Tennessee and all that, but, they didn't have, 147 yards or something ridiculous like that total for the game, the Giants, which is even bad for a halftime total, but to have that for the whole game. And they didn't have look, Eli has no one to throw to. All he has is a running game, and it wasn't working. I get that, but it's always great to see your team shut down a team like they were just shutting down the Giants for 4 quarters. So
Evan Ingram is going to be a fun player to watch, though.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Moses, just tell me, what were your thoughts on Ifedi?
Well, when he's not having
good night,
everybody, and he's not getting beat around the corner or beat inside, I guess he's all right.
Do you remember the phrase you used a couple of times in the chat, maybe?
No.
Bench Ifedi now. Bench him now.
Bench you
Trade
down,
kill
please. And I started listing things that were better than him at guard or tackle, like small pieces of wood, a rock, a statue, me.
Yeah.
Warren, I think it was Warren Moon said he was talking about Ifedi, and he's like, well, he said something to the effect that in one way he's kind of like the Michael Bennett of the offense because he's good for at least 1 penalty a game.
And he leads the league in that, by the way, which is fantastic.
Wow.
Hey, he's number one. Woo!
Yeah. All right. Well, what we always like to do when we end talking about a game is do a little capture that picture. All right, caption this picture. This is a picture of Sherman after he tapped a ball away in the end zone, and he turned around and he waved his finger in the air like Dikembe Mutombo, if you would. But I don't know if anybody did that. I hope I didn't ruin it. Will.
Moses. That's exactly where I was going.
Will, caption that picture.
Richard Sherman works on his Dikembe Mutombo impression.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dikembe Mutombo. Sorry, Will.
That's okay. It was obvious.
Mark, caption that picture.
Caption that picture, Richard Sherman. This entire city is mediocre.
Ooh.
Nice. I spit at thee. I fart in your general direction. Dustin, caption that picture.
Whose house? Sherm's house.
Yeah.
Like it. Matt, caption that picture.
Devin saying, 1, that is the number of touchdowns we shall allow you to score to this day in New York. 1.
I had that one, but I have another one. Mine is, oh, look, Sherman thinks the fans are telling him he's number 1. All right. Let's go to the 2-minute warning.
Holy shit, it's a 2-minute warning.
Let's take a look at our posse predictions from last week.
Can I also say I'd have got a lot more. I probably would have got my plus 380 bloody progression if it wasn't for Jimmy Graham's slippery butterfingers.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. All right. First on the score, 3 points to Jose and Will for getting 24 points for the Seahawks. 2 points to Tom's. First time we've had the point spread, a 17-point Seahawk victory. Tom had that. And a point to Jose for saying 24-9, and it was 24-7. Very close. Prognostications, 3 points to Will. Russell over 300 yards passing. For the game ball, I gave a point to Wilson, so Will and Matt got a point, and I gave a point to Baldwin, Little Mo, and Mike got a point. The over-under was under. A point to Jose, Mark, Ty, Turner, Mike, and Will. Individual scores this week. Will, the big winner, with 8. Jose with 5. Tom, 2. Mike, 2. Matt, 1. Little Mo, 1. Mark, Ty, Turner, 1. Individual scores after 6 games. Mike Pascal leading the group with 17. Jose and Will with 15. Dustin at 13. I'm at 12. Matt and Tom at 10. Mark, Ty, Turner at 7. Statsman Mark at 4. Little Mo at 3. Gentlemen, after 6 games, the team scores are Team 12, 52. Team Posse, 54! We're still up by 2!
Oh, yeah.
But the gap is a narrow one, gentlemen. I guess that's all you got to say about that, huh?
So like I said, ain't no trash talk from there, no trash talk yet.
Yeah, take that. Take that, Team 12. All right.
Yeah, in your face.
Yeah, let's go to halftime.
Holy shit, it's halftime.
All right, so much more show coming up. Seahawks win Sunday. Can the Texans grab an upset? Who you gonna call? All these answers and more just around the corner. But first, another wonderful edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia coming up next.
Hi, I'm Ozette. Please keep listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show.
Or I will find you.
Yes, it's halftime, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of the best play-along Seahawk-themed trivia game show on the internet. It's time for 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. And here's your host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity. Yes, thank you, me, and welcome to another edition of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia
of the world.
The trivia game that tests the knowledge of both our posse and our listeners. Our contestants are the posse themselves, Will, Matt, Mark, and Dustin, and here are the rules. So here's how the trivia game works. There'll be 2 rounds of questions. Each contestant answers 1 question each round. If they get it correct, they get 1 point. After 2 rounds of questions, there'll be a final trivia question worth 2 points. If there's a tie after that, then the tie players go on to a special secret overtime question where the winner becomes reigning 12-Man Fan Jam Show Trivia Champion and also gets a prize chosen especially for them. As an added bonus to those listening on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel, the questions and possible answers will be displayed on your screen so you, the viewer and listener, can play along as well. If you do, please let us know how you did on the questions. Remember, there's no Googling, no phone a friend, and please, no wagering. However, there is a lifeline. Before taping this show, my 2 charming Seahawk fan children, Mosette and Little Mo, did take the quiz as well. If the contestants want to know what the kids said, they can ask that but once and only once during the entire game show and only in the first 2 rounds. Now let's get ready to play 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. All right, gentlemen, you know the rules. The questions are Hawkoween and Texan based. That's all I'm going to tell you. Dustin, you are a 3-time in a row winner, so you get to pick 1, 2, 3, or 4.
4.
Oh, going for the 4-peat. I see what you did there. Matt, 1, 2, 3.
3, please.
Will, 1, 2.
2.
That means Mark will have question 1. Mark, are you ready?
I am. Is it a football question?
It is not.
Uh-oh.
It is not. It is about the movie Hawkoween, and here's my question.
Uh-oh.
What was the original movie script for the movie Hawkoween called? The original movie script was not called Hawkoween. What was it called? The Babysitter Murders, Child Killer, or Teen Night Terror? Dance!
Wow.
That one.
But there's a lot of 70s positivity in those titles.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, wait, repeat again because...
Sure. The Babysitter Murders.
Okay.
Child Killer. Or Teen Night Terror.
Oh, man.
That sounds like a triple bill at the drive-in, doesn't it?
Babysitter Killers. Babysitter Killers, Teen Night Terror.
And Child Killer.
And Child. Ah, boy, let's just go Babysitter. We'll go Babysitter.
The Babysitter thing?
Yep.
The Babysitter Murders, he says. Little Mo said The Babysitter Murders. Mosette said Teen Night Terror. You said Babysitter Murders. Yes!
Oh my goodness.
Originally Babysitter Murders.
I finally channeled the spirit of Matt and actually guessed correctly.
You're on the board. Congrats. Will, your question is a football question. It's about the Houston Texans. How many times have the Houston Texans made the playoffs in their history? 4, 5, or 6? How many times have the Texans been to playoffs? 4, 5, or 6 times?
I am going to say 4.
He's going to say 4. Mosette said 4. Little Mo said 5. You said 4. We are 2 for 2 as a group.
Oh my goodness.
I'm about to ruin that. I'm about to ruin that.
And I think they've only been a franchise for like 15 years, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, since 2002.
Yeah, almost every 3-4 years. That's pretty good. Matt.
Yes.
Your question is about the movie Halloween. In what Midwestern state does the movie Halloween take place? Illinois, Indiana, or Ohio? Illinois, Indiana, or Ohio. Where does Halloween take place? The movie.
Let's see what do the kids think about this, because I have to say Halloween is not one of those films that I've ever really watched.
All right. Mosette says Illinois. Little Mo says Ohio. Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio are your options. The Midwestern state that movie Halloween supposedly took place in.
I would say Illinois, but I don't know.
You're going to say Illinois. Because that's what Mosette said. Yes!
Oh my goodness.
3 for 3, people.
Woohoo!
What is going on? Although it was actually filmed in California, and if you look closely in some of the scenes, you can see palm trees. But they tried to make it in Illinois. But
they couldn't have filmed it in
guys.
Indiana.
Yeah. All right. Did you know Grey's Anatomy is not filmed in Seattle?
Oh my goodness.
California.
All right.
Oh my goodness. But they couldn't have filmed it in Indiana because they'd all had to do like getaway cars on like tractors and stuff. It wouldn't work.
Hey, Dustin.
Yeah.
The last time the Seahawks played the Texans in Seattle was a long time ago.
2005.
Yeah. How many touchdowns did Sean Alexander have in that game? 3, 3, or 4?
I'm going to say...
You said 5 and answers are 2, 3,
They
or 4.
said 5, I think, was his last answer.
Yeah. Well, I remember if I remember right, that was like a Thursday night football game or something. I was in Yakima when I was in the Army.
Night.
I think it was Sunday night. But yeah.
That's what I say.
Thursday night.
Oh, I meant Sunday night. 'Cause I remember I was in Iraq, or not
Dustin,
Iraq, in Yakima.
Hey, Dustin, how's that drink tasting? All
way.
right.
It's the drink's fine. I was in Yakima at a field problem in the Army, and I snuck away from the X-ray department to go watch the football game over at this day room. So, I'm pretty sure he had a big game, and I think he scored 4 touchdowns.
Okay. 4 touchdowns.
Yeah. I was thinking 5, so it has to be 4.
Little Mo said 2. Mosette said 3. You said 4. We are 4 for 4.
Wow.
Who knew? All right.
Is that the first time, like, ever?
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
We know our shit.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Dustin.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, or 8?
8.
Matt?
7?
Will?
6.
And we're going in the same order. All right, Mark, here you go. Your question is a football question this time.
All
I
right.
know it was last time. It was Halloween last time, wasn't it? Okay. The last time the Seahawks played the Texans, that would have been down 2013, I think.
2013.
Down in Houston. Yeah.
Yep.
How many times was Russell Wilson sacked? 3, 4, or 5?
Oof. I am going to say 4.
He's going to say 4. Little Mo said 5. Mosette said 3. You said 4. I'm sorry. 5. 5. Yeah.
That's when J.J. Watt got bloodied up in his face.
Yes,
I
it
remember
was.
that.
It
Mhm.
was. Yes, it was. Will, what was the original movie script of a Friday the 13th called? Friday the 13th. That original movie script was called The Camp Counselor Murders, Camp Crystal Lake Mystery, or Long Night at Camp Blood. What was the original Friday the 13th called?
I'd like to ask the kids.
Ask the kids. Mosette said Camp Counselor Murders. Little Mo said Camp Crystal Lake Mystery. Nobody said Long Night at Camp Blood.
Well, then I'll take a page from Matt's book and go with Long Night at Camp Blood.
So you'll go with Long Night at Camp Blood, huh? Yes!
Ooh.
Long Night
Okay,
at Camp
then.
Blood. Well done, Will. 2 for 2.
Well done.
Matt.
Yes.
The last time the Seahawks played the Texans in 2005. Or no, that was 2013 in Houston.
Yeah.
I apologize. Who had the most receiving yards for the Seahawks? Was it Doug Baldwin, Marshawn Lynch, or Golden Tate? Who had the most receiving yards? Doug Baldwin, Marshawn Lynch, or Golden Tate?
I'll go Beast. Lynch.
You're going who?
Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch.
Sherman had like 58 receiving yards in that game. From Schaub.
Yes, he did. Let's see. Mosette said Lynch. Little Mo said Tate. You said Lynch. Yeah, Lynch, 45 yards. Led the receivers. And Matt has 2. All right. Question 8, Dustin.
Yep.
In what state did the filming of the movie Friday the 13th actually take place? Was it New Jersey, New York, or Philadelphia, or Pennsylvania, I mean. New Jersey, New York, or Pennsylvania?
He's got it written down. Do you know what I mean?
Apparently, it was filmed in Philadelphia, and I think that's in Pennsylvania.
So you're going Pennsylvania?
Yeah, that's just my guess based on your question.
Okay. Because you're listening to me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Little Mo said New York. Mosette said Pennsylvania. You said Pennsylvania. Nah, it was New Jersey.
Okay.
Forget me. All right.
Never listened to Dennis.
I just figured he had the city written down next to the state.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No.
I bet Moses did that on purpose, just for that reason.
I'll never tell. Okay. We have Mark, Dustin, Will, and Mark in an order, and y'all know what time it is. It's time for the final question. All right. Final questions, high-low. The closest without going over gets it, and if you all go over, whoever's closest gets the 2 points and the championship for this episode. And we're going to start with Mark. Mark, your question is, how many rushing yards did the Seahawks have against the Texans the last time they played in Seattle? So that's 2005. How many rushing yards did the Seahawks have against the Texans in that game?
Oh, okay. Let's see. 4 touchdowns for Alexander. Ah, boy. Holy cow. I'm going to say 215.
215 for Mark. Dustin.
Aren't I last? No,
How
I'm
can
not.
you be
Never
last?
mind.
No, you're second.
I'm just saying I'm sorry, I'm used to winning. I'm used to winning. So what's your question?
That's like Tom Brady showed up at the Super Bowl. His team's not there going, aren't we supposed to play today?
Am I not playing today? Yeah.
How many yards did the Seahawks have against the Texans the last time they played the Texans in Seattle? Mark said 215.
Rushing yards.
Rushing yards.
Rushing yards. Okay, I'll say. But Alexander himself had like 130 something, I think. So I'll say 198.
198.
Actually,
Will.
Yeah, I'll roll with it.
Okay, I am going to go 241.
241. 198, 215, 241.
242.
242. Wow, Matt can't wait to Price is Right, you guys. All right.
I don't get many chances these days.
I know.
Honestly,
So,
I thought I went too high because Alexander was like the main dude back then. It's not like we split the load too much.
Well, Maurice Morris also got 100 yards in that game, if I recall correctly.
would you like
Okay.
you want to hear the answer?
Yes.
All right,
Where's
then
that
shut up.
misery?
Here we go.
Any harsh.
Dick.
I got to play this game at 2 in the morning. Do you know what I
All
mean?
right. How many rushing yards did the Seahawks have against the Texans the last time the Texans played in Seattle? 2005 was 320.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Guess who's back in town?
Oh yes, me.
The Brit.
Woohoo!
Matt.
I've got to order a trophy. Ordering a trophy.
Order that trophy, buddy. Congratulations.
Order the trophy. Woohoo!
Wow. Amazing. 320 yards. By the way, 200-yard rushers in that game. Maurice Morris and Sean Alexander.
Wow.
Amazing. Just amazing.
At least I got that right.
Yeah, you got that right. You know what else is amazing? This has been a crowd-pleasing, heart-stopping, award-winning, amazing edition of your 12-man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia.
World.
Of the world.
World, yeah.
We'll be back with the second half of this show after this reading by the Reverend. Let's get some Church of Seahawk positivity up in here. Sex Pistols, take us out.
And now it's time for a reading of Seahawk Positivity with the Reverend Moses.
Yes, it is I, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity, a reading from the book of the 2017 NFL season, chapter 7, verses 3 to 12. We did then return home. Upon returning home, there was a noise from the land of Lone Stars, for there did rise Texans, and those with the bowls on their heads did come into our land. They wanted to defeat us, but our noise was too powerful. Our team was too powerful. Our energy was too powerful, and we rose up and sent those Texans back home defeated and broken. Yes, this is the word, my brethren. Go forth and spread the good word of Seahawk positivity. Praise the Largent, praise Cortez, praise Walter Jones, praise Easley. Go Hawks, and give Pete a chance.
Holy shit, it's the third quarter.
Yes, it's the third quarter of your 12-man Fan Jam Show. Hey, you! Yes, you loaded up on Halloween candy. Like or comment on this video. Join us on the Facebook of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show Facebook page. Email us. Tweet us. Make this all part of your Seahawk fix. Do it now before you eat the last Kit Kat bar. All right. Now, as a public service to our listeners, we offer some useful advice on how you may find out if you or someone you know may be or is actually a Texan. All right. So the 12-Man Fan Jam Show probably presents How to Know If You're a Texan. Yes. How to know if you're a Texan. These signs or others could give you clues as to whether or not you or someone you love or care about or just know is a Texan. All right. For example, if you end your phone conversations by saying yeehaw, you might be a Texan. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Hey, if the term longhorn refers to the cow in your backyard, you might be a Texan.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. If your hats are measured by the gallon, you might be a Texan. All right. Gallon hat. You know. I'll get through these quickly. If you listen to both country and Western music, you might be a Texan.
Oh no, I love country and Western music.
Yeah,
Don't make me a
both
Texan.
time, country and Western. And finally, if the term kissing cousins reminds you of your prom night, you might be a Texan. All right. Yes, thank you. I'm glad those are over.
Well done. Congratulations.
I think that's more of a Kentucky thing, Dennis.
Well, you know, a little
West
farther
Virginia.
south. Yeah.
Mountain Mama? Sorry.
Hey, let's see how healthy these teams are by turning to our own doctor, Dr. Dustin, with a 12-man Fan Jam Show injury report. Dr. Dustin, tell us the news.
Doctor, give me the news.
All right, so I kind of feel like Ace Ventura here when he's talking about Ray Finkel because there's a lot of injuries for the Texans. So I'm going to try and do this in one breath. Watt, Merciless, Dylan Cole, Chris Clark, Joel Heath, Brian Cushing, all out. Not playing. Various injuries for a bunch of them. We don't have to worry about them because we're not playing them. So.
I love how you worked that out. It's amazing. You should do this professionally, I tell you, man.
Yeah, sweet. And then for the Seahawks, which is something I care about a little bit more.
Okay.
We got Britt. He's questionable with his ankle. You know, he got rolled up on, or I can't remember what he did exactly last game, but
I think he got rolled up on.
He got rolled up on.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Jokel's still out. It'll be a few more weeks. Jeremy Lane is questionable. I think he was listed with a finger injury, which is fine. It's been a groin the last few weeks, but his finger was dislocated and went through his skin a few weeks ago, so understandable. And then you have CJ Prosise, who's
I'm shocked. I tell you,
pretty much all but ruled out of the game. He's had ankle vaginitis recently, but I think we're just going to upgrade that to full body vaginitis at this point.
All right.
He he just has that and can never show up and play. So
yeah. Hey, I read that the injury to Britt was a low ankle sprain, as opposed to a high ankle sprain. But
yeah,
high ankle sprains are harder to come back from. But
yes,
let me ask you, Dr. Dustin, with a low ankle sprain, can they just tape the heck out of that ankle? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, absolutely, they can. And at that point, it's a pain tolerance thing. So
yeah, okay, good. So I mean,
what they have to do is they have to get the swelling down. If they get the swelling down, they can just tape it and throw him out there, and he'll have the stability in his ankle because of the tape job, and he can play. And like I said, it's just a pain issue at that point.
Yeah.
Something CJ Prosise wouldn't understand.
No, I'm thinking about Prosise. I reckon, in America, when you have like a drug and you have to list all the side effects that happen to that drug, the only way that they know all of those side effects actually happen is because they test them on CJ Prosise, and all of those things happen to him.
Yes.
God.
That's how they know.
That's how they know.
Oh my God.
Tested
we have
by
done
Prosise. We are precise about this. That would be a fantastic way.
This has been like a CJ Prosise roast edition of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show.
He's probably going to get an injury from it, actually.
Well, I invited him on the show. I invited him on the show to be able to roast us back, but unfortunately, he stubbed his toe walking into the room, and he's had to go and lay down for an hour or so. So he wasn't able to make it.
He tripped over Matt's broken chair.
Oh yes! Mark or Will for the win. Well done, Will.
Well done, Will.
Well done, Will. Wow. That's actually not too bad for us injury-wise. I mean, all things considered, I guess.
When half their team is hurt, that's good for us.
That's good for us. And the other half wasn't going to even go on the plane after what their owners said. But I guess I guess they changed their minds. But, that could be a factor. Quite frankly, if they feel a little slighted by their owner, that could be a distraction for them, at least at the start of that game. And when you're playing on the road against a team with a crowd that we have, which there aren't many like that, but there are, maybe 4 or 5 in the league that have really loud crowds. That's gonna, could be interesting. This game could get ugly in a hurry if they're not concentrating because they're worried about what the owner said.
For us.
Yeah, in a good way for us, I think.
And Dennis, they're the only team playing to have two kinds of class, shackle and no shackle. So it depending on.
Yikes.
Please direct that to Statsman Mark, care of 12-Man Fan Jam Show.
Well, he did say inmates.
Yeah, he did. Oh man.
Think more of the fugitive rather than anything else. Anyway.
Fugitives. So we'll see that. I mean, that could, but in all seriousness, like I said, that could be an effect. I mean, you're talking about a team that, has to be on it at the beginning because that crowd. Now, I can't wait to see what Deshaun Watson does in Seattle. It's going to be interesting. But before we do that, we have to take a look at what the weather's going to be for that game by turning to a guy living in Europe. Yes, it's time for the 12-Man Fan Jam Show Weather and Fashion Report with Matt from merry old England. Oh, Matt!
It's raining man.
Yes, thank you, Moses. So, this week we return to the Pacific Northwest for a little Texan rodeo of our own. And of course, that also means a little home weather too, which, granted for Seattle, normally means torrential monsoon rain and the occasional airborne salmon. But not this week, Moses. Oh no. This week, we should have sunny spells with temperatures in the 60s, which, incidentally, is the same decade that any other country on the planet last used Fahrenheit as a unit of measurement.
Oh!
But I digress. This is the last game before Halloween, and of course there will be lots of unusual and unnatural sights aplenty, almost as unnatural as seeing CJ Prosise on the field uninjured. Well, maybe not that unusual or unnatural, but plenty of zombies and witch outfits and all that, no doubt. But if you're the kind of fan that likes to stand out in a crowd, there really is only one outfit to be seen in it this weekend, and that's standard issue US prisoner orange jumpsuit, complete with plea bargain and optional Mr. Jingle's mouse and cotton reel for those of you who are wanting to walk the mile, walk on the green mile. Because remember, folks, In our prison of CenturyLink Field, we are the inmates running this facility, and Mr. McNair, you and your team are going to be our bitches this weekend.
Nice!
But me, me, if you could ask me what I was going to wear to this game, well, there's really only one outfit choice for me. Sticking with the whole prisoner legal theme, I would go dressed as Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, complete with tiny glasses on a chain and optional gavel, because you know I look great in black with white lace trim, and you're damn right I'm judging you right about now, and because I ain't nobody's bitch Moses. Well, not on a Sunday anyway. But that being said, it looks like it's going to be perfect Seahawks weather. Moses, back over to you.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. The weather, the fashion, the injuries, it's all too much. It's too much. But we do have one more segment before we move on and talk about maybe a key to this game. And it is this. Jose Rodriguez is asking us a question every episode. And so now,
yes.
Jose, it's time for Jose because Jose wants to know. All right. Jose wants to know what we're thinking, and here's Jose's question this week. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you the entire thing he sent me. His question is this. If you could trade one player for another or trade a player for a draft pick from the Seahawks, who would it be? His answer was, I would either trade Lane because he's always hurt and Shed is coming back, or Graham. Because...
How'd you feel about that, Dennis?
Well, here's what he said. Graham, because I'm tired of him dropping balls like he should be in a male prison. All right, so...
Oh my God, he went in my neighborhood.
I'm going to start by trading Jose. No, I'm kidding. I'm teasing. Will, one player to trade. Who would you trade?
One player to trade.
I guess you have to consider the value you get for him too, I guess.
Yeah, it depends on if you're trading him because you don't like him or if you're trading him because he's got value.
I think what you can get for him, like, who would be a good person that right now is a good time to trade them. I think is what he's saying.
I can see where this is going. Sorry.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a difficult question. I mean, you talk about, fine. We're sick of Jimmy Graham dropping passes. Trade him, or Jeremy Lane, trade him. But, I don't think we would get a lot in return for either of those guys, because with Graham, you get the talent, but you're taking on the contract. So I don't think anybody's going to pony up too much for that.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it really is a tough one. I'm going to think out of the box here. I would trade Paul Richardson.
Oh.
Okay. I like Richardson. I honestly hope we extend him, but if we're looking to trade, I think that's somebody that we could actually get some value for.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting answer for sure. Mark, who would you trade?
Well, it's the minute I heard this question, I had a huge grin, because I've had some off the record talks with Dennis about this already.
Yes.
And the guy I would trade is Michael Bennett. And of course the contract, I guess it isn't. He just signed an extension, so I forget what the guaranteed is. But I think as a player, there's value in him, but he's 32. This has nothing to do with the politics that have been going on. Anyway, I think you get value for him, and I just think that it just seems like it's time. I don't know. So that would be my thing, but I know his contract is such that.
Well, and I think we're getting to the point where these guys that have been in the Super Bowl team, we're looking at 5 or 6 years since the Super Bowl. So we are getting that time where if we're going to get any value out of some of these guys, now's the time. Dustin?
Yeah, and that's kind of exactly why I would trade the person I'm going to say. Because we would get value out of him, and he's in a position to where in the next couple years he could start declining a little bit. And I'd say Richard Sherman.
Wow.
That's a huge guy to get rid of.
Yeah.
But we do pretty well with quarterbacks here, and Sherman's a guy that he'd probably garner the most as far as what you could get back goes, and he's aging. He's only going to have his skills for another couple years at most. So.
Wow.
Yeah. Trade high.
Interesting. Matt.
Yeah, I don't have a serious I'm not going to be serious on this because I don't know enough about trade values and all that stuff to give a meaningful response like that. But what I would say is I would trade Blair Walsh immediately because he makes me nervous. And I don't need to sit through games feeling because he can't kick to one end of our stadium to start with.
He's only missed one field goal.
He makes me nervous. Honestly, I would get that bloke from Glee, whatever his name is, Kurt Hummel, to come and kick for us if I had to. Because he just every time when he goes out there and he does his little pretend kick, and he still looks like the orc from Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry, I can't have a member of the team who looks like the orc from Lord of the Rings. It's just not acceptable.
Damn, they're fresh.
They're fresh. There it is. And look at it honestly. And Will's absolutely right. Going to look at the scene. It's exactly like him, but it makes me nervous. So I'd be rid of him in a second, and I would have I don't know. Can that defensive end, whatever it was called from the Buccaneers, kick balls at 43? Because if he can kick out one of them.
Oh, you guys are awful. Oh.
We could trade it. We could trade it for Hauschka.
One field goal and it's like,
we could trade for Hauschka.
Get rid of him.
Hauschka's having a good year in Buffalo.
Hauschka's worst kicking this year.
Yeah, but at least he can kick to both ends of our stadium.
He couldn't last year.
All right.
But he was under pressure last year.
Okay, it's an easy deal for me. I would trade Affetti for a couple of magic beans and a cow. I don't care. That's it. I don't even care what value we get. It's kind of like the thing where they say, we have kids at my school that I work at. Well, don't kick them out of school because that's what they want. You know what? I want them out of my school. So with him, don't trade Affetti because, you can't get something for him. You know what? If he's off a team, I'm happy. So since we're hating on players tonight, I'll just throw that one out there.
How do we miss so badly just routinely with this stuff? It's just like, my God.
Woo.
Anyway.
All right, so that's the third quarter.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
Coming up next, we take all that info, plus other info, probably a lot more helpful, and make our Seahawks-Texans game predictions. You are listening to 12-Man Fan Jam Show, reminding you a transcript of our show. If you'd like a transcript of our show, please take out a piece of paper and pencil and write down everything we say. We'll be right back.
Holy shit, it's the fourth quarter.
Oh, yes, it's time for the fourth and final quarter of your special Halloween episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. All right, let's move on to this Texans game. Current line that we're going to use is Seattle 6-point favorites. Over-under for our purposes will be 45.5. Quick disclaimer, these numbers have been presented for entertainment purposes only. The 12-Man Fan Jam Show does not endorse betting on anything at any time. Mark, please don't take these or anything we say on the show ever, including the hate you just heard. Don't ever take anything we say seriously, ever, really.
All right. He does want to trade Affetti.
Yeah, except my hatred for Affetti. No, All right, let's start with our predictions. This week's picks, Team 12. Little Mo says 24-13. Graham, 100 yards receiving. Game ball to Graham. And this is him. Everyone will forget about Jimmy's dropped balls from last game. So the rest of you, except for Little Mo, can suck it. That's right. I have trained him well. All right. Jose says score 31-21. Prognostication, I'll go with Dustin and say Sherman gets an interception. I would say Graham... okay. I would say Graham doesn't drop a ball. But there's a better chance of me reaching out to my ex who I said something horrible about in the thread.
No.
He is just all over Jimmy Graham.
Holy cow, that was a lot of imagination. I like
that. You're all lucky that no one listens to this show, or I'd fire y'all. All right. I'll let you. Let's see. Finally, a game ball to lock it because I think him and Russ are going to connect for a touchdown that won't be called back for a penalty. Okay. Tom says 27-20 Seahawks. Freeney gets a sack, and he's giving a game ball to Russell Wilson. Mike Pascal, who's actually leading right now the pack, Mike Pascal says 23-20 Seattle. Game ball to Thomas. Prognostication, the defense gets 3 or more sacks against Texans. And he says leading early usually means lagging later. I hope I don't end up like last year's Vikings. Mark Ty Turner says if the Hawks are the elite team we think they are, they'll win this game. Slow starts have become the norm, so I think they changed the norm on Sunday. They'll score at least 14 points in the first half. That's not his prognostication, though. He has 27-9 Seahawks. Game ball to Shaq Griffin for 2 picks. And McKissick scores twice is actually going to be his prognostication. All right, Team Posse, Stats Man Mark. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
All right. Thanks for being on the show again. I'm glad you're back.
Yes, it's boy, I really like some of the thought process of the other team there.
Yeah.
Boy, they are. Jimmy
steal
Graham.
from him?
Does Graham deserve a reprieve, or I mean, he sounds like he's condemned to.
Just wait.
Anyway, okay.
My pick's coming up later. Go ahead.
I know. He will get a chance there. So we got. I'm going to call this 27-20 Seattle. I'm going to give my game ball to Russell Wilson just because that's the easiest thing to do. And and let's see.
Lazy.
We will sack. Watson will run into sacks, or we'll get him one way or another 4 times.
All right. Matt from Maryland, England. Hi, Matt.
How are you, Dennis?
I'm wonderful. How are you, sir?
I'm great, thanks. Absolutely fantastic.
Hey, I'm going to be sending you a Blair Walsh autographed picture as soon as I find one.
Oh, I'm going to send you a mixtape of Graham catching balls, which will be a very short tape. It won't take me long to compile. Let's start off here, because you know what'll happen, folks. Because like this week you'll probably have a monster of a game, and then next week we won't hear the end of it.
You
Dennis
better
going
believe
on and on and on about this.
The gauntlet has been laid. Count on me.
Has the gauntlet got any sticky stuff in the palm to actually catch balls? Because the gauntlet hasn't got some sort of.
Feed the beast every quarter next week.
Put some resin on it.
Yeah.
Okay, score-wise, I'm going to give Seattle Seahawks 24, Houston 17.
Okay.
I'm going to give my game ball to Earl Thomas.
Okay.
And my prognostication, I don't think it's tame, but I think it's a good one. I think Seahawks will only have 6 penalties in this game. And can I just say that we had 15 penalties for 110 yards last week? Can I just tell you? That's got to stop, people.
Yeah.
That's got to stop.
That's got to stop. I agree.
So 6 penalties. I hope we'll halve them. We'll just go just under half. We'll get 6 this week.
Less than 6 penalties. 6 or less, right?
6 or less.
Yeah. All right, good. Dustin, hi.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. How's that episode of Stranger Things that you're watching? How is it?
It's not bad. So I paused it for the show.
Oh, bless your heart.
Yeah.
How many tokens does that cost?
Yeah. Was that?
Tokens does it cost?
How many tokens does that show cost? Oh,
Several.
All right.
Anyways, I'll say prognostication first because I'm sticking with it till it happens. Sherman gets a pick. All right, then we go score. I'm going to say the Seahawks will have 27, and the Texans will have 17.
Okay.
I was intrigued by Pascal's score though because 2023 was I think the final score the last time we played the Texans.
It was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool. Anyways, game ball's gonna go to Wilson. I'll give it to him this time.
All right.
Easy thing to do, right?
Yeah. It's an easy thing to do. Will, hi.
Hello.
Will, not a lot of hatred from you tonight. I'm kind of glad there's somebody out there that people will at least not bash on during the show.
It sounds like everybody's meeting for the first time during this segment. It's like,
it does. Hi, Will. How are you?
Yeah.
This is the speed dating portion of our podcast.
Well, honestly, I halfway thought about making my prognostication that CJ Prosise would play, even though he's questionable.
That'd be awesome. Oh, that would have been awesome.
Oh, you're awful. Hey, Will, you got a score for me, buddy, pal?
I do. I believe the Seahawks will win 31-13.
Okay.
Because I think we will not shoot ourselves in the foot, actually higher up into the center line throughout the first half of this week's game.
Good.
I'm going with a 2-pronged prognostication because I like a couple of our newcomers. I say Dwight Freeney gets at least 1 sack and Shaquille Griffin gets at least 1 pick. It is time.
Well, which one do you want to pick?
Both. I'm double or nothing.
You're
baby.
doubling down.
Oh, he's doubling up.
Oh, goodness. Does he get double points?
No.
But he gets 0 points?
He gets 1 point, or 3 points if he gets both of them. Freeney, sack, and Griffin. Ooh,
I had
doubling
8
down.
points this last week. I'm feeling my oats.
You are daring. And your game ball?
My game ball will go to Doug Baldwin.
I thought he was going to say Russell Wilson then because it's easy.
Prognostication: Doug Baldwin will not push any coaches this week.
Yes.
We know abuse on the sidelines.
Yeah. That seemed to help last week. They may do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might. All right, the moment you've been waiting for.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Later, Matt. Have a good one.
You know, this game has all the looks of an eyebrow raiser. You know, the kind of matchup you see on the schedule and you go, that could be interesting to watch. As interesting as it can be, the biggest story might be Deshaun Watson against the Seahawks defense and the noise. I know he's played Alabama and he's having a remarkable season, but he has not dealt with this noise. Watch the Seahawks. No. What the hell was that?
I dropped my phone and it started playing. It made noise. Sorry.
He was trying to simulate the crowd noise.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. May I continue?
Yes. You may, and you might think about, starting your thing over there.
Nah, the hell with it. We're going with it. Hey,
right.
Watch the Seahawks make Deshaun throw 3 interceptions. That's my prognostication.
Nice.
I believe.
Uh-oh, here we go.
My game ball goes to the beast. Feed the beast, Jimmy Graham. Oh, it's elementary, my dear Deshaun Watson. You lose as the Seahawks win by a score of Seattle Seahawks 31, Houston Texans 20. Wow.
Now, see, why didn't you put your prognostication Jimmy Graham would catch more than 3 balls?
Yeah.
No, I don't need to.
Not feeling very risky today, Dennis?
He's going to be the game ball.
I just figured it'd be hard to feed the beast when Marshawn Lynch is suspended.
In
so.
He's playing with his old high school team.
Yeah.
Sitting in the stadium.
Can we?
Sorry.
Are you done?
No, but carry on.
All right. Hey, it looks like time to bring another wonderful and amazing 12-man fan jam show to a sad close. We're glad you decided to waste some time with us, and we certainly hope you laughed a little and maybe you learned a little something. Oh my God, what did we learn? We learned Mark owes Crystal tokens, whatever that meant. We learned that Matt hates San Francisco. Moses loves Graham. We all love CJ Procise.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of hatred going around in the posse. So, on behalf of my partner in crime, Matt, our newshound Shadowhawk Will, Statsman Mark, Dustin as the Buser, Roger Goodell, Mosette, Little Mo, Andre Johnson, Matt Shaw, Sheila McRae, Art Carney. Good night, everybody. Go Hawks.
Go
Hawks.
Can't we all just get along?
Dustin as the Buser.